Hey guys, so this video is about what are emotions and what psychology says it's about. So psychology is often conceived of as a biological, behavioral, and cognitive science that looks at biological and social causes of thoughts and behavior. For a very long time, the emotions were ignored or downplayed as being of less interest and importance than ideas, cognitions, or behavior. We have behavioral science and cognitive neuroscience, but only very recently emotional science. Emotions are powerful social signals. Emotion and motivation have the same Latin root meaning to move. Emotions send us quick, powerful, physical messages that allow us to respond to our environment. They also enable us to communicate voluntarily or involuntarily. Psychologists tend to define emotion by looking at its component parts. Emotions are felt physiologically and behaviorally, often very expressively. There is also a cognitive component associated with emotions. Evolution has left us with a set of highly adaptive programs, all designed to solve specific survival problems. We all inherit macro and micro emotional programs that are the result of many encounters in the past. We have had to learn who to trust, how to detect, and how to cope with failure and loss of states, how to react, and the automatic and voluntary expression of many emotions is a key feature of the successful social life of our social species. We have a rich detectable report, repertoire, repertoire, I think that's how you say it, of emotional signals to facilitate social interaction. The evolutionary psychologists believe we have developed a set of number of emotional states and reactions that are extremely useful. A particular condition or situation triggers an emotional program or sub-program that affects a person's physiology and thinking. Emotions galvanize and activate many systems together that deal with the problem. So emotions serve us to detect evolutionary reliable cues, then trigger reactions that have preceded in the past to be good solutions to these problems. A good example is fear, and fear of being followed, ambushed, or attacked at night. This fear sets into problems in a whole set of circumstances or routines. First, you become highly attentive to particular visual or auditory cues. Second, your priorities and goals change: hunger, pain, thirst are suppressed to achieve safety. Third, your information gathering systems get focused into particular issues. Fourth, some simple concepts emerge or change from easy, difficult to dangerous states. Fifth, memory for past events like this are triggered. Sixth, memory be an attempt to communicate rather than usually like via a loud shout or cry, or do the opposite, finding oneself paralyzed by the fear and quite unable to utter a sound. Seventh, an interference of hypothesis testing system is evoked, meaning people try to work out what is happening and what will happen next. Eighth, learning systems are activated, and then ninth, physiological systems. This may be for fight or flight response, and then finally a series of behavioral decision rules. Thus, the person might make a run or even attack. Responsible adapters are of course not always successful. People are not aware of or able to report on the triggering of these various programs, but certainly know the future emotion, the fear emotional state. In this sense, the function of the emotions is to mobilize the whole system that affects the goals and conceptual frameworks, motivational priorities, attention to, and perceptual physiology. Emotions tell us how other people are experiencing the situation. They provide a continuous commentary on how others and ourselves see the meaning of things. Clearly, some emotions are automatically signaled. Others are more complex and have no distinctive signals like guilt or jealousy. It seems that we need to send and receive information reliably and efficiently, but it does depend on what information you are sending and to whom. You share emotional information more obviously, clearly, and beneficially with friends, and can people are more expressive and open with intimates and more reserved with strangers. Also, it depends on what information is communicated. Thus, evolutionary psychologists might expect differences in emotional and social expression and recognizing emotions. Though disputed, many researchers have accepted that there are six fundamental and distinguishable emotions. These are happiness, sadness, surprise, anger, disgust, and fear. Darwin, who was the first to write a scientific paper on nonverbal emotional expressions, argued that we can recognize distinct facial expressions that correspond to the fundamental and emotional state. They are manifest emotions part of our evolutionary background and not learnt. Whilst much of nonverbal behavior is shaped by cultural learning, the expression of most facial expressions are not. Blind people express facial emotions much the same as sighted people. Many expressions occur in all cultures. The face has different highly expressive parts of which can signal emotion. The eyes can be wide or narrow, so pupils dilated or not, and the eyebrows raised or lowered, versus anything excessively or stare. The mouth can be opened or remain shut. It can be turned up or down. The teeth and the tongue can be seen or hidden. The skin can be blushed or not, with or without signs. The nose can have flattened nostrils. Researchers have shown that one can describe angry or happy or disgusted facial expressions that nearly all people will judge as that specific emotion. The angry face has frowning with raised upper eyelid, dilated nostrils, open lips with lower teeth exposed, widened eyes, etc. Facial and other nonverbal expressions act as a way of quickly and effectively communicating emotional states. However, two caveats are worth considering. The first as the issue of control and whether you can easily and accurately control our physical displays of emotions. Being surprised or shocked or attached leads to immediate and strong reactions by the autonomic nervous system. We may get a typical fight or flight response accompanied by powerful physical reactions. The question is what control we have over our emotions or expression of them. Some appear more under control than others. Thus we can supposedly relatively easily control our gestures and body movements. The research has shown we often leak emotions by particular gestures and foot movements when stressed. Equally, most of us feel we have less control over our pupil dilation and heart rate. The second issue concerns conscious awareness of emotions. Sometimes both sender and receiver are fully aware, as in the case of them blushing. Equally, neither might be aware of small gaze shifts, eyebrow movements, or pupil dilation. Experts are trained to be aware of particular nonverbal correlates of emotional states such as plantar smiles, yawning head movements. Finally, emotional messages senders may be aware of the message, but receivers unaware when they are trying to hide something. Encoding and decoding emotions. People communicate emotionally. Their facial expression, voice changes, body movement, and posture. People show their emotions. Physiological arousal causes specific reactions that causes characteristic expressions. Thus, fear leads to a restricted flow of blood to skin and muscles and hence a white face, while for anger the opposite with full rage. Infants detect and respond to different emotions than their caregiver from a very early age. They show characteristic reactions to anger, disgust, and fear. Later they display characteristics and detectable emotional states: distress, crying, hand in mouth, anger, screaming, temper tantrums, frustration, scratching the body, teeth grinding, beating the feet. We encode information through tones of voice as well as gesture. Hence we can often read or interpret the sounds and movements of apes and monkeys, dogs, and cats. But as cultural and social psychologists have demonstrated, we also learn correct, polite, and acceptable ways to display emotions. How and when we touch one another, hand and face gestures, eye gaze patterns, body posture, and spatial behavior in a personal distance. Cultures develop rules and rituals about such things as greetings or showing status that may be highly specific to a particular culture. Religious rituals are highly culture specific and designed to show a specific range of emotions. Just as we have been programmed to, but also taught to encode specific emotions, so we have learned to decode them. Early studies show people clearly express emotions like joy, fear, surprise, and anger. Some were shown silent films, the other films with sound, while others just heard a soundtrack. Surprise and contempt were the most difficult emotions to recognize or decode, while fear, anger, and joy were the easiest. People use many cues to decode the emotions of others. This led psychologists to ask questions like which cue yields most information about which emotion and which situation. Indeed, it is assumed that nonverbal communication is much more powerful than verbal or vocal communication because it's more honest, read, and unfake.